Hi, it's Joe Priola with Covenant Financial Services. Thank you for being here with us today. And today we're going to talk about the importance of managing cash that now is valuable and it needs to be managed as such. So I think we're getting close to the top of the interest rate cycle. We're about 8.25 for prime. It could go up another 2 or 3 interest rate increments, so it could get as high as 9%. So we're already in the high spot part of the rate cycle, right? So what I'm seeing with clients is that they're still thinking like cash was not valuable. Like a year and a half ago, prime was 3.25, right? So, and you were earning 0 on your deposits. Well, today you can earn 4 or 5% on your deposits, and you're borrowing at 8.25 at least. So what do? Well, one of the things that people need to realize is having a bunch of cash in their bank account and drawing on their line is not efficient. You need to be efficient today. That's how you mitigate the carrying cost of the rate. So if you have lots of money in your checking account, you need to figure out what the lowest amount is that you can manage with. Not that you can't draw in and out of your line as you need to, but that it's not sitting idle. So let's talk about like what your operating capital, your working capital that you need to run your business. Let's say you have $1 million, but you really only need $250,000 to kind of really run it. You need to bring your business capital down to $250 and pay down your line, which will save you expense, which will make you more money. In the past, cash was not considered valuable because, it was always like you need it for liquidity, but inventory has to be moving, right? You want to turn your inventory. Well, cash is an inventory item. It needs to turn, and especially now because your borrowing costs are expensive. So you need to be efficient. And we were talking about earlier, okay, so fine, I paid on my line, now what do I do? Well, if we're trying to improve cash flows, you're gonna look at rates that are higher in your term debt portfolio. You might have some at like 5, 6, 7, but if you go get a new loan today, it's at 8 or something. You just have to say, okay, if I pay off this a little bit early, because I have the money, it's not a big payoff, how's it gonna improve my cash flow? We've seen a lot of that too. I can save $20,000 a month if I make my 8 months worth of payments today, and it'll help my cash flow. We talked about how can I improve my business? Well, there you go. That's another tool you can use with your cash to pay off a term loan that's going to get paid off in a few months anyways. Well, if you're not a borrower, absolutely now today, your money needs to be working for you. We weren't really worried about, investing our cash to make a return. Well, you need to today because there's a real yield. If you get 4 or 5% on your money in a CD and you have this excess cash, or they have high yield savings accounts that maybe let you pull money in and out, yeah, again, we need to increase income, decrease expense. So if they're raising rates, we need to be efficient. And then when we have excess cash, we need to make it working for us. So if we don't have a place to put it to pay down debt, or a term loan that we want to tie up because we just think the rates are good and we want to leave it alone, well then let's try to get some yield on our money. Banks are hounding clients for CDs and stuff like that today. So you can do a ladder CD. I don't know if you know what that means. So, a money market account you can get at all the time, right? So how you do that with a CD, where there's usually like a prepayment on it and there's a term. So let's just say you're going to do a 3-year ladder. So you buy a CD, a certain amount of money for a year CD, a 2-year CD, and a 3-year CD. And so as the one matures after a year, that money's available for use. You can use it in your company, or you can roll it and buy a 3-year CD because everyone's kind of coming down. They call that a ladder. So it's a way of building access to cash flow with money that's coming due all the time. So you wouldn't, if you had $300,000, it would be better to do a 1-year CD at 100, a 2-year CD at 100, or a 3-year CD at 100, not $300,000 and a 3-year CD. Because if you need the money, you don't have access to it. I know you give up a little bit of rate to do that, and I'm fighting with clients, trying to get them to listen to me because it's kind of like your routine, right? You're used to having $300,000 in your checking account, or $500,000, and you didn't think about it. Well, now that's worth $80,000. It's $1 million, it's worth $80,000. That's important. If it's $500,000, it's $40,000. That's important. Like it's not being sloppy, right? You can't be sloppy today. You gotta be efficient. The banks don't be here saying that, but they're efficient. They have to make sure their money's working. So does the client. We're just at a different environment. Eventually, if rates stay here for a while, it'll become normal. But right now, this swing is causing pain.